David is the fulfillment manager at Velotics, a maker of bicycles. Here's where his story begins. David is trying to figure out how to make fulfillment more agile. Industrial processes are complex, and last-minute changes are causing a harmful ripple effect across his organization. They're also costly, with the need for frequent exceptions and 11th-hour changes to sales orders. Growing problems in fulfillment began to have a financial impact at Velotics. So David advocated for the addition of Advanced Available to Promise when the company implemented S4HANA from SAP. Advanced Available to Promise offers 3 methods for ensuring repeatable, on-time delivery for David's most important customers. 1. Setting up a product allocation sequence. 2. On-the-fly changes during the sales order process for one-time or limited demand. And 3. 11th-hour reallocation of finished products using the Release for Delivery app. We begin with setting up a product allocation sequence. Product allocation is the most efficient way to simplify and automate decision-making for fulfillment. Using this tool, David can easily establish a set of business rules to automatically ensure that Velotics' top customers' orders are prioritized, and that the rest of their customers also get their fair share. This tool will be an excellent resource for companies that have long-term product shortages. I'm showing you the product allocation sequence process on these PowerPoint slides rather than in the system to save us the time of clicking through the steps in each app. Instead, I can summarize the process and help you quickly see how each step works. Each of the following slides has a screenshot, so you can see how the configuration will look when you complete each step. The first step in the 4-step process is Configure Product Allocation. David will use this tool to define the characteristics that S4HANA should consider when allocating products for fulfillment for Velotics. On the screen, you can see that 3 factors determine fulfillment priorities for Velotics. Customer rank, labeled as Sold To Party Region, Customer Group, and Geographic Region, labeled as Sold To Party Customer Number. For this product allocation sequence, David has defined Geographic Region as the number 1 priority, followed by Customer Group and then Customer Number. Geographic regions can be states or provinces or countries. A customer group can be anything you like. For instance, you can create a customer group for a high-priority distributor. Each customer has already been ranked in the master data with an A for high, B for normal, or C for low, so that ranking is automatically associated with a customer number. With this hierarchy established, the system now understands how to determine priorities for fulfillment and production. Before AATP with S4HANA, David kept all this information on cheat sheets and reviewed every order as it came through. Then he made manual changes as necessary. This is obviously not scalable, and it meant that David had to personally oversee every order or risk upsetting a top customer. This process also put a lot of pressure on David to ensure that any changes to the fulfillment orders were communicated to sales, procurement, and production so that they could backfill products when Velotics experienced unexpected demand. This process was inefficient and riddled with risk and resulted in mistakes that necessitated too many costly rush orders, and customer satisfaction was still damaged. Let's now review the second step in the process using the app called Manage Production Allocation Sequences. In the last step, David designated which characteristics were most important for a product allocation sequence. In this step, he now defines which specific region, customer group, and customer or customers apply to this sequence. You can see above that he's designated CA, California, Customer Group 2, and customer number USCUP007. The beauty of this feature is that the system will not restrict decision-making to one particular allocation object. It's capable of more intelligent decision-making and can consider 3 or more characteristics for each sequence. The next step is to allocate a number of bikes for this allocation sequence and the frequency upon which they should be produced, including start and stop dates. In the case of Velotics, David will designate a specific number of bikes for the sequence each week. That way, if a customer requests a higher or lower quantity, a different type of bike, or a faster time frame, it will be automatically flagged in the system for sales and fulfillment. We're only on step 3 of 4, but you can already see how complex this process could be without an intelligent ARP. In fact, it's nearly impossible. With S4HANA, however, once the rules are established, fulfillment based on optimal business practices will run automatically. And when exceptions arise, the system will make recommendations for changes that will not disrupt fulfillment, production, or procurement processes. We use an app called Manage Production Allocation Planning Date for the fourth and final step. In this step, David will determine the combination of planted material needed for this allocation sequence. This step is crucial to ensure that procurement is buying the correct and proper amount of materials at the right time, and that production is assigned to the correct factory. On this screen, you can see that David has assigned 150 bikes to be produced every week for the California sequence. Previously, David managed a process like this using spreadsheets that he got from separate procurement and production systems. These systems were not integrated, and David and the other departments were constantly reconciling the information. It, too, was an error-prone and time-consuming process for the entire organization. The second method with which David or a sales manager can help maintain on-time delivery is during the sales order process. Say, for example, that Thunder Sports needs an additional 250 bikes next week, but not again after that. David can make a one-time adjustment by creating or converting a sales order before production begins. The system will automatically flag that the needed 250 bikes are not currently planned in the production plan, and that this problem is high because Thunder Sports is an A customer. From the sales order form, the system proposes other customers for which the same model has been promised, so David can reallocate those bikes to Thunder Sports for their quick deadline. S4HANA will then automatically adjust production and fulfillment schedules to backfill the 250 bikes that were allocated to Thunder Sports, so that they can still be produced on time for the later deadlines of Everest and Vegas Sports. There's nothing further that David needs to do to manage these orders already in the system. It's that simple. Now let's take a look inside the SAP Intelligent ARP. Let's start with the third step. Now that S4HANA and AATP function can use to help manufacturers ensure repeatable on-time delivery for customers. As we said, David is often asked to make last-minute changes to orders to accommodate Velotics' best customers. In the past, this had been done manually, which was prone to error and would too often result in shortages for other customers. These shortages made it necessary for procurement and production to do rush orders, which resulted in additional cost for shipping and overtime, that sort of thing. These costs ruined already narrow margins for Velotics. The Release for Delivery app will sort this problem for David and Velotics. It gives David real-time visibility into all available inventory and orders. It will also alert him when there are shortages for A customers based on the rules that we set up using the product allocation sequence, and, like with the sales order process, all changes and additional necessary production is automatically communicated upstream to procurement and production so that they can produce the needed items before a rush is required. In addition to enabling last-minute changes for customers that have product allocations, this tool can also be used for products that don't. Today, the production order for 500 mountain bikes for Thunder Sports has already been completed and is ready for delivery. But sales gets a call from Thunder Sports at the last minute saying they also need 10 cruiser bikes to be included with the shipment that's going out tomorrow. There's not enough time to produce the bikes, so David is looking for existing inventory that has been promised to other customers. David's top priority is to solve problems with the highest potential impact on Volatics business. The orange Unprepared tab indicates that Volatics currently has a shortage of one bike model and therefore are not ready to be shipped. In the confirmation column of this screen, David can see that he is short 20 Neo Cruiser bikes. In the impact column, he sees that this is a big problem because the impact is high, which usually means it's an A customer that needs the items. On this page, David can now see all sales orders for the Neo Cruiser bikes. The third column lists delivery priority, and he can see that one A customer, Thunder Sports, has requested additional quantities of the Neo Cruiser bike. The system is giving David a recommendation based on priorities, as you can see here, with the green and the red arrows. David will ensure that Thunder Sports gets the right quantities first, and then allocate the remaining pieces based on customer priority, which we established during the product allocation sequence. The confirmation column tells them that Thunder Sports needs 10 more bikes, referenced here as pieces. At the top right, you can see that the needed 10 bikes have been confirmed and that 20 Neo Cruiser bikes are still needed for the B and C customers. In the column that says Required Material Availability Date, David can see that the other orders have later delivery dates, so that he can reallocate the bikes to Thunder Sports and not miss those delivery dates either. This need for the 20 additional bikes is automatically communicated to procurement if supplies and materials need to be ordered, and production to prompt creation of a work order. David clicks Publish and Back, and doesn't need to do anything further. Here you can see that the high-impact problem for delivery of Neo Cruiser bikes is resolved, and it no longer appears on the list. Just like that, he's fixed it, and all important orders have been confirmed. This is a big win for Volatics. Thunder Sports is grateful that Volatics had the agility to fulfill an important last-minute request, and Volatics won't be affected financially by going the extra mile for their customer. SAP customers, in fact, report that they have improved customer satisfaction, on average 10 to 20%, using AATP from SAP. David is happy, and although they will be notified automatically that the problem has been solved, he writes to Ryan, the head of sales, and lets him know. He uses Copilot, the intelligent digital assistant from SAP. The problem is solved. The necessary pieces have been confirmed for Thunder Sports with no disruption for other customers. Let me know if you need anything else. David is a hero today. Using Advanced Available to Promise with SAP's S4HANA, it took only a few minutes to make sure that Volatics' best customer got the stock they needed. A few minutes later, when he heads into the break room for coffee, he gets a high five from Ryan, who received the alert on his phone. Not only has Volatics taken a giant step toward making repeatable on-time delivery possible, tonight, David will also be on time for dinner.